this. So, if
Most
there,
of it, Dave, most of it is automated. In terms of controlling, there's nothing more that the pilot has to do actually. The majority of role is involved in while what we call takeoff and what we call it. I mean, uh, what we call it when we. I'm not how to say that. I mean the landing and takeoff.
right? Yeah,
Is this, yeah.
takeoff and landing. That's basically.
So that's the primary role for any pilot. Other than that, I think they have a certain frequency, they have a certain path that the automated system tracks and follows that line.
Right.
So
absolutely, and we have the technology to control a plane remotely. We have the technology for, as you were saying, Sachin, an air traffic controller could, for instance, open a cockpit door if somebody needed to get in. There are security issues that are connected to that idea in terms of, if the person trying to get in was malicious, that could cause a problem. But the thing is, if a plane like this was going down and air traffic contacted the plane and they were not responding, it seems that we could do or produce something where the air traffic controller could take control of the plane, level it off, and land it at the nearest airport, and just take away the controls from the pilot.
Yeah.
So that something like this can't happen. Obviously, we have drone planes that fly all around, and those take off and land remotely. So we have the technology to do this sort of thing. And that might be the solution. If there were two people in the cockpit, perhaps that could have prevented it. Do you think that would have had an effect here?
Regarding this specific case, yeah, but if we generalize this condition, I mean, in that case, I told you about the hijacks and things like that. So I think if we just try to foolproof the system, we cannot just think of just one instance. So
yeah,
I think.
Right. That's true. That's true, because these situations are more complicated. The reason why the door was fortified and the captain could not break in was because of the hijacking situations.
Yeah, as I told you that he might also be unconscious or maybe suffering. Yeah, so
that's true. That's another thing, and this is something. If the plane lost air pressure at a high altitude, it's very possible that people, including the pilots, could become unconscious, and then if air traffic could take control of the plane and land it, that would be a very good thing. And we have
another thing, Dave. I think Google is working on a car which works. I mean, we have a technology which prevents any collision, any accident. It works on. How to tell that? There is an automated car which can run on its own, and it detects the distance with any other car that's running in front of that.
Yes.
Just trying to. So we can also work on similar technology in terms of, aviation. If it need not be to be controlled by. I understand that you cannot remain connected via your controlling systems, control room every time. So if just in case you are in such a situation and you are not connected to a control room, there should be some functionality in the driving system, aeroplane system. There should be some inbuilt functionality that if the plane is going down at such a speed or such sharply, it should be able to recover on its own. And I mean, in case of normal takeoff, I think landing. In case of normal landing, there is a certain angle. You cannot do a landing very sharply, like in the incident what we are discussing. So, if I am able to express myself properly, I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I
don't
understand.
find words sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You're doing a good job though, and you're going for it, and that's one of the best things to do is just to keep trying to talk, and you just get better and better at it. Yeah, you're right. You have to land at a certain angle. There's also a word called trajectory.
Yeah.
I can write this in the angle, and I think I got this.
So if it sounds that it's not going, if the landing pattern is not usual, that in the case of this incident, I think it should be flying down very sharply on a sharp angle. So there should be some automated system that alerts.
Exactly. When like an alarm goes off, the angle is too steep, the speed is not right, these types of things, and then the plane gets taken over.
And that automated system should be reporting to the control room that we see something unusual, because in case of hijacks, what happens, generally the passengers and the pilots may not be able to contact the control room. They do what exactly the terrorists want them to do on the gunpoint.
Absolutely. That's right. And if the plane can be taken over remotely, then it doesn't matter. It could be landed, it could be taken over, landed. Doesn't matter if it was hijacked. Doesn't matter if the pilot wants to kill everybody. They would have no control.
Yeah.
And what the airline industry would say is to do that would be very expensive, and people wouldn't fly as much because of the price of tickets would go way up, and they would say things like this. But I don't know. It seems maybe in the world we live in today, this is what we need. And
I think it could be implemented in the near future, but I understand the point. If I talk about India, most of the domestic airlines here are in huge loss.
Are in you mean in terms of profitability?
Yeah, they're in a huge loss.
Yeah, and Sachin, it's similar here in America. They make much money, a lot of them lose money. And it's a hard business to be in. There's very few that are profitable in America. I know that. Let me give you some pronunciation tips here. I was making some notes when you were speaking. So the first word I have for you is when you were saying measures, and it's MEA, measures, to try to hit that R more. Measures.
Yeah, I call it measures.
Yeah, measure. Try to hit that R a little stronger. Measures.
Measures.
Yeah, because you're saying like measures. If you can try to keep working on that really sharp R, because I'm exaggerating right now. Measures.
I think it has something to do with the syllable stress. I guess measures. I'm not sure how. I need to practice on that.
Yeah, that's cool. You were saying a phrase, like you were saying like one of the reasons or something like that. And I just want to emphasize when you say one, to hit that one. Yeah, there you go. And of, try to hit that V sound. Of, one of.
One of.
Yeah, get that
One
lower lip touching your top teeth and kind of buzz it, make it vibrate. One of.
One of.
There you go. That's good. That's
Yeah.
much better. Probably feels a little different to you. And let me give you one more word. With. Sometimes when you say it in a sentence, it sounds like maybe like whiz, or something like that. With.
I pronounce it like with.
Yeah.
It's actually, it has some regional influence on that. I need to work on that. As I told you about my problem, that if I am speaking consciously, then I would pronounce it correctly. But if I am just
right
in a general conversation, so it's with.
Yeah, with. Well, yeah, no, you.
With.
Yeah,
Sorry,
in North American English, we mostly say it voiceless, like with.
Yeah.
Just try to, I'm just reminding you again, because the more I remind you, the more likely your brain is to remember it. So
yeah, I'm actually very excited about it. It's going to work very great. What actually it reminded me about my previous training sessions. My trainer used to correct me in the same way, and I'm very happy you are correcting me on this.
Good, cool. Yeah, you're doing great. You're doing great, and no, you did express your ideas quite well. So yeah, thanks for that. I think they're interesting ideas, and Sachin brought up the idea of what Google is working on, and they have a driverless car right now that has pretty much performed flawlessly. They've driven it hundreds and hundreds of miles, maybe thousands of miles. I forgot the exact amount, but no driver. It's controlled by computer via satellite, and it knows how far cars are from you. It knows how to make a lane change. And this is through a satellite, up in space. Yeah. And if they can do that with a car, they can do it with a plane. And I think it's very smart. And I think they can do it, and they should do it. We're smart enough. We have the technology and the wisdom to do this sort of thing. And it's like,
I think the problem is about the profitability. The airlines it's very hard for them to implement this sort of technology.
You're absolutely right. When the Indonesian plane went down and the Malaysian plane disappeared, I heard a lot of talk from the news and rhetoric from airlines saying, first of all, a lot of times when the planes are flying internationally, sometimes they're flying and there's no contact between the air towers, for a few hours, because they're over the ocean, and that's the way they do it. And they said, to have constant audio would be a big expense, for airlines to do that. And, to do something like we're talking about, to control the plane, to have automatic control systems, remote control systems, would be even more expensive. So,
I think, a remote control system might be expensive, but I think we should have some inbuilt emergency safety, controlling system inbuilt. There should be something.
Yeah. No, I agree.
If you are controlling it from the control room, it's just a matter of a few seconds. So if something unusual is happening, and even the plane is reporting those emergency signals, if it is sending to the control room, then at the control room you decode them, then you take some action. There would be a lot of time lag, and I think that would be, I don't think you won't be able to do something in that situation. I think there should be something inbuilt in the plane to take care of such emergency. To recover from these emergency situation, or how to say that?
Yeah, you could say it in different ways. You could say deal with these
Deal with, yeah.
problems, deal with these issues, deal with an emergency situation.
Yeah. So
Right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. I think we have the brain power to figure out some systems to deal with this and to come up with actually a lot of creative ideas and this sort of thing.
because Dave, I think if we talk about terrorist activities, I'm not sure, but in the documentary that I saw about 9/11, I saw that some of the planes were carrying the same ID. Some of the planes that were flying that time, there is a specific ID that is allocated to any plane to, I mean, identify that.
Okay.
So at that instant, what was happening? Two or three planes were carrying the same ID.
Oh.
So that's why the air traffic controller thought of that there could be several planes affected by this, and that's why he ordered all of planes to just land.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So I think the situations can be a lot of complicated. So
right.
We need to upgrade the technology.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And you say like a lot complicated. You could also say just very complicated. Like these situations are very complicated. It's another way of saying that.
Okay.
I think it was a Gassim. Were you trying to speak? Somebody was trying to speak earlier. But anybody who wants to comment on this, feel free to comment now. Anybody? Oh, hi, Hassan. How are you? Can you tell us where you're from, Hassan?
Hi, teacher. How's it going?
Very good. Nice. Yes,
nice to meet you, teacher.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice to meet you too. Where are you from, Hassan?
Well, actually, I'm from Iraq, teacher.
Oh, really? Wow. So you're calling us from Iraq?
Yeah. How's it going, teacher?
Oh, it's going good. We can hear you quite well.
I miss you so much. A lot of time wasn't talking about English.
Oh, well, yeah, I stopped for some time doing the English meeting call. I was traveling. I was away from my home. And I stopped doing it for a while, but I'm back on the air now.
you are welcome. Welcome, teacher. Thank you.
Good.
Great to make for us a class to teach us. Thank you so much, teacher.
Yes. And are you working on your English there in Iraq?
Well, actually, I'm English teacher sometimes.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I was going to say you speak very well.
But I'm beginner teacher. Don't worry that. Don't
Okay.
He will teach me. I think that.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And
teacher.
Yes. So you're teaching English in Iraq, and how do you go about teaching your students? Do you have textbooks you use? Do you use computers? How do you do it there?
Actually, I'm used sometimes book chart to teach them vocabulary, and sometimes teach them by textbooks, and sometimes by video, sometimes by audio, sometimes I think I can use it with them.
Oh, that's great. That's great, man. Yeah. It sounds like you have a lot of tools.
Yeah, sometimes I use technology with my students because they are like to watch video and writing sometimes like this.
Good. Oh, sounds great. Sounds like you're doing a good job.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that you are teaching us like this.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I like to mix it up and use all sorts of technology. Always have, and I like using video, and that's why I started making videos and doing things like this. So I love that, and I believe in that.
Yeah, you are the best teacher. I think you are teach them how to use vocabulary by picture and by video sometimes, and sometimes you can speak with them direct to ask them.
Right, right. Absolutely. Well, very, very good. And we're talking about the plane that just went down. It's the topic for today. But we're going to be today's call is going to be a little short because I have to wrap it up soon because I have an appointment to go to today. So this is a good time if anybody has any questions, anything at all having to do with speaking English. This is a great time to ask. Yeah, Gassam.
Yes, I have. I lost my microphone.
Oh,
Sorry, I apologize for that.
oh, no
trouble.
problem, no problem. Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned the Alps plane crash, which happened the day before yesterday or yesterday, if I'm right. And you are mentioned with a colleague from India, if can use the method which used in self-drive in Mercedes car.
Yes.
I think the autopilot already exists on plane.
Yeah.
So we don't need
Well,
any technique instead of autopilot, I think. But the problems will be on the human being themselves, how they are
Yeah.
behave, how they are to get a good manner and appreciate those who are carrying on their plane and their relatives, and also can what can I say? That's a lot.
Well, how do we control? You bring up a good point, Gazem. That
Yes.
is that your music in the background? I'm hearing music.
You hearing
Oh, there we
music?
go. Yeah. Okay, now it's gone. It's good. How? I mean, you bring up a good point about the pilots and pilots. How do we go about controlling that? These are people, you know. How do we control? Do we train them differently? Do we give them lots of psychological testing? Do we maybe put video cameras on them in the cockpit so we can watch them? How do we control the pilots?
I think we should be in touch for them. I mean, to be as their families, and must be contact with their families and ask them about their behavior or their manners, and about their daily activities, how they are doing, and establish them, and how they are treating their colleagues, their neighbors, their all the people around the pilots.
Okay, so it sounds
And
Yeah.
must take a psychological training, or as you mentioned, some of physiological test that I should take that and be work on the future on advance.
Mhm. Dave, I would like to add something to Gasim's
sure.
response. Gasim, as you told that the autopilot functionality is already inbuilt, but the pilot has to switch to autopilot mode. It's still manual. What I'm trying to say is that autopilot functionality should be enabled by default. If the pilot is making any mistake, that autopilot mode should turn on by default, and it should take control of that to deal with that emergency situation. And
Good
regarding
knowledge, good
the
information.
regarding the psychological survey, I think it would be quite difficult if we do it on a scale.
I don't know. You clarify it as well for me. Thanks for this information.
And
You're welcome.
in Satya, what do you mean by doing it by scale, psychological?
I mean, Dave, there could be a lot of thousands of employees and you can guess how much effort it will take to just to get in touch with them regularly, and how effective it would be. Just suppose if there's any terrorist who has just joined this and working it like that, you cannot justify him from just by his behavior. So
True.
if just in case you are not able to get any information on that, and in that case, that what I suggested, that automated systems should have some safety measures and should be able to take control of plane in if it detects something unusual and report to the control room.
Yes,
So
and
if it reports to the control room, then the control room operators could speak with the working pilots if something is okay, or if something is if you have any problem. So even if in the case of hijack or things like that, if the pilot is not responding, then they can smell out, and I mean they can
determine.
determine that there's something unusual.
Right. Yeah, yeah, I like the sound of that. I like that idea. I agree. Let me give you something here. Like you said, like these systems could turn on by default. And another way of saying that, a little better way, might be to say turn on automatically.
Turn on automatically.
Yeah, like they'll automatically turn on when there's some sort of an error. Something is going wrong.
Correct.
Yes. And Gazem, let me give you some pronunciation tips here. When you were saying the manner of people, try to hit that R. That's the North American pronunciation of manner.
Manner.
Yeah, manner. And the word there, we need some more R. There. There. Nice. And
there and manner.
And I think you were talking about the pilots and their families, and you said neighbors, and it's pronounced like this. Yeah, neighbors.
Neighbors.
Yeah, right.
Dave, how much time do we have left?
I'm follow the British method of learning.
Oh, yeah, British is different, that's for sure.
So already joined to British Council here in Khartoum.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting.
So for that, it some variety between American English and British English.
Oh, okay, very good. That's great. No problem.
Pronunciation, particularly.
Right. Okay.
Great. Your orientation teacher, your imitation is fantastic. I like it always.
Oh, thank you, Hassan. Oh, wow, you're so nice. Appreciate that.
You mentioned important things, Mr. Hassan. Mr. Dev, we want some training about intonation and stress. That is my great problem. Really, I'm suffering a lot from this problem.
Right, and it's a good question, because you know, and all of you are from different countries, and what comes from your native language and your culture is a very specific rhythm intonation pattern. And hold on one second. Shirin, can you turn off your microphone? We're just getting some noise from your microphone. Shirin Gamal. I can hear some background noise. If you can just turn off your microphone by clicking the microphone icon in your Skype window. Shirin, can you turn off your microphone, please? There's a little blue icon if you move your cursor under everybody's name and picture. And you could...
Is it stable now? You can continue.
Yeah. I'm still hearing.
I'm hearing you very well, Mr. Dave.
There. Well, I just hung up. Maybe she can fix it. So, and when I talk about rhythm and intonation, it's very similar to music, because, you know, if you hear a song, you know, this song has a certain rhythm and intonation, and a different song has a different rhythm and intonation. So it's like they're different songs, and you grow up with that rhythm and intonation. you're very comfortable with it, and it's hard to change it. And a lot of misunderstanding comes up because of rhythm and intonation. So one thing, like I've talked to Sachin about, is his native rhythm and intonation is very fast. And so when he slows down his rate of speech, he's so much easier to understand. He's very comprehensible. That's the term we use in linguistics, and we want to be able to comprehend what we're hearing. So one of the things is it really does help to slow down your rate of speech, because certain phrases you say, you may not be aware of it, but you're saying them very quickly. And then people get confused. The other thing is, if you notice how I'm speaking, listen to how I'm speaking and look at that as a different kind of song. And you can start being aware of the rhythm and intonation and how it's different. When I was in Taiwan studying Mandarin Chinese, their rhythm intonation is very different. So when I was in Taiwan, I would listen to that rhythm and intonation, and then I would use that and try to imitate it when I spoke Mandarin. And that's something you can do too. Oftentimes, the word stress, like the syllable stress in specific words, are different from your country to like a North American pronunciation. So, we do need to be aware of that. But what really helps to somebody who can speak quite fluently in English is to slow down and then to rebuild your rhythm and intonation, and almost like you're taking on the character of a new person, and you're creating a new character. And I'm going to talk like this new person, because like if I went to India, for example, excuse me, if I went to India, the rhythm and intonation is very different there. And if I tried to speak, one of the Indian dialects, Hindi, like if I was trying to speak Hindi, I would feel strange speaking with the traditional rhythm and intonation, because it's so different from mine. But that's what you got to do. And you create a character and you do it, and you kind of jump into it and you give it a try. And, it's like when I try to imitate like an Indian talk, like I talk like this, and I say, hello, everybody. My name is Dave, and I am an English teacher. And I like now, yeah, but the thing is, you know what I'm doing? And I'm not trying to be funny. So I enjoy, I enjoy it, but I'm jumping into it. Now, Sachin would probably say my accent is not so good, but the thing is, I'm trying. I'm jumping into it. I'm doing different things with my voice. I'm doing different things with my rhythm and intonation. And it may not be perfect, but it's a start. You see what I'm saying?
So does it change meaning sometimes, teacher?
Yes, it can change meaning, because intonation can be a difference in meaning, a difference in terms of making a statement, a command, or a question.
Right. Thanks, teacher.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for this information, teacher.
And you're welcome. You're welcome. And one of the things when I talk about this that I want to tell all of you is this, kind of important, is when you speak English, you want to come off, you want to sound friendly, like you're very friendly to the people you're talking to. So your intonation, if it's a lighter, more upward intonation, you're going to sound more friendly. That is good for you, because you're going to make more connections. People are more willing to help you. and to be your friend. If you talk with a lot of downward intonation, it comes off too strong. And people think, oh, they will judge you. Oh, this person is a little rude. I don't like the way this person talks. They forget that you're learning a language. They forget, and they just hear the intonation. They just hear the word stress, and they forget that. So if you make an effort, just more, hi, how are you doing? Oh, nice to talk to you. You know, you go upward with your intonation, and people who are native speakers will like you very much.
Of course, teacher.
I hear from a teacher, British teacher. She is mentioned or categorized the intonation and voices for two sections. There is a flat tone and a buoyant tone. If someone greeting you and your response for him, how are you? If you said, I'm very happy, that means you are not very happy.
Yes, you're
But
right.
if you say, I'm very happy, I'm very excited,
Yes.
that to show you are really very happy.
So
Exactly. Thank you.
how can I practice my notation, teacher?
Well, you know, you can just when you speak English, you know, you can, if you're talking about the upward intonation, you can just start shaping that when you end sentences or you end a phrase, do more upward intonation to bring out that friendliness. You can also work on it, Hassan, by watching a native speaker talk. It could even be on a TV show where they're speaking with a standard dialect or accent, and you can imitate it, you know, and you can practice that, you know, be that character in the movie or TV show, you know.
Is mimicking work for this process?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
My question is mimicry for the speaker, is it work for this process?
Yes, absolutely. Now, understand there are different techniques that work better for some people than others. Some people do very well with mimicry. I tell a story. When I was in Taiwan, I had a cab driver who was born, you know, a native Taiwanese, and he spoke English almost perfectly. And I asked him, where did you study English? Your English is so good. And he said, I never went to any school. And I said, really? I said, well, how is your speaking skill so great? And he said, I love American movies, and I watch them and I imitated the actors. And that's how I speak. And it worked very well for him. I'm not saying that's going to work well for everybody, because
that's right.
Yeah.
It's depend upon the person who
Absolutely. Yes.
You know.
Our brains are different. We all learn a little differently. What is
the standard technique for enhancing our pronunciation and intonation skills and stress rhythms?
Well, I don't know if there's a standard, but there are things that I recommend as a teacher, and that is to record yourself. We were talking about this last week. To record yourself in an authentic conversation. Like right now, I'm talking to you. It's a real conversation. It's authentic. And record your voice, and then listen to your voice and identify the errors in terms of pronunciation, and then practice saying it right, because you're giving your brain more signals. Give your brain a rest, do something different, come back to it later, sleep on it, give yourself spacing, and keep
sleep on it.
Yeah, sleep on it, meaning like if you study a little bit at night, it's quite good to study in the evening, and then sleep. Sleep helps your brain to improve, and then you pick it up the next day after going to sleep. and your brain is more likely to hold this information. There's a lot of research out now on how our brains learn and how we retain information. So using sleep, using spacing can really help. But talking to a native speaker, such as myself, is great, especially somebody who's a teacher who can give you.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah. And keep asking questions is also good, but I recommend working on two to three sounds at one time. Any more is too much for your brain. If you're trying to work on everything, it's too much. But if you work on one sound, two sounds, your brain gets more and more accustomed, and you can handle the sound, and you will start incorporating that into your authentic speech.
So
Great.
what do
I
you
think
think?
it's a standard technique for the learner.
Well, like I said, there is no standard, but that's what I recommend. Okay.
Right.
To me,
So
it is how David speaks.
Oh, are you talking about like a standard accent?
Not actually, Dave. I really like how you speak. I mean, the friendly tone, the intonation pattern, the rate of his speech, everything. How you speak is. I really like that.
Okay,
So
good.
To me, that's the standard I want to achieve.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Hassan, you had something.
Yeah, excuse me, teacher. What do you think about divide? Excuse me. What do you think about divide time? The same story about notation.
I'm a little unclear of your question. Divide time?
Divide time, the same story. By audio, of course.
Divide.
In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, the same story. Are listening about the same story.
Oh, if you're like listening to a story in English and you listen to
Yes.
it in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite good. That's a very good technique because that's called spacing. And even if it's a short time in the morning, afternoon, and evening, you're spacing it out. You give your something different, and then you come back to it, and that cements it in your brain much more. So that's a very good technique.
Right.
Yeah, and enjoy it. Make it a story that you enjoy. I always tell my students, when you're using this stuff, if you're reading, if you're listening to something, make sure it's something you enjoy, because that raises the motivation level so much higher. And we need a lot of motivation in language learning. Yes. Yeah, go ahead, Blue Sky.
I have a problem with listening. When I listen to songs, I don't understand so much. But if I listen in lyrics, I understand. But when I listen to native speaker, I don't understand very much. But when I see the words, I understand. But how can I improve my listening and my reading too? But because my reading it's so bad.
Well, the reading, what you need to do is find some reading material that's at your level and just a little bit higher, and make sure it's something you really, really enjoy, And reading is great because it helps you with your grammar, vocabulary, spelling, everything. With the listening, and you should try to read something at least once a day. Preferably before you go to sleep at night, because then it's the last thing that hits your brain before you go to sleep, and your brain can kind of use that when you sleep. In terms of listening, there's a lot of good stuff on YouTube that has captions, and you can read the captions while you're listening, and that can help you improve your listening skill, because if you just listen and you're missing a lot of information, it's not so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to do small plan to speak fluently in 1 year. It's good if I study 4 hours per day.
Well, I mean, 4 hours to some people is a lot. And the thing is, it's how you study. How you study is more important than how long you study. Let's say we broke it up into 2 hours a day, and we went at it like this. You study for 30 minutes, and then you take a break for about 20 minutes, and you do something different. You could study something different. You could study something, I don't know what you do. Like if you study something in Egypt, something different, you watch TV, you cook, whatever, do something different, and then come back to it for another 30 minutes. So, and then if you study in different locations, like if you study by the window for the first 30 minutes, maybe for the next 30 minutes, if you can go to a library, that's great. If not, maybe a different area in your home, this helps. If you study just 2 hours solid, it's not as good as if you...
I wish to be fluently in here. I wish to speak fluently.
Yes.
But I don't know how. I don't know how. And I feel very bad when I listen to native speaker, and I don't understand a lot of words, because I have friends, but I don't understand every word. I wish to speak fluently and understand more in 1 year, but I wanted to work in myself, but I don't know how.
Well, you need to, if you want to be a fluent speaker and at a certain level in a year, it's very helpful to speak English as much as possible. Do you have friends that you can speak to in English?
Yes, because here in Egypt we have churches for foreigners. And I went to these churches because I know a lot of native speaker, American and British. And already I have friends, and I meet together, and I have trip with them, and I went to many places with them, but I don't understand every word. I feel shy.
Right. Now, this is what I want you to do. I understand that. Try to keep a little piece of paper, like a pad and a pen with you or something, and try to write down these words that you don't understand. And you may not know how to spell them, but write them down the best you can. And you're not going to be able to do it for all the words, but that's okay. Do it for some of the words, write them down, and either ask somebody about it later or ask the person you're speaking to. Now, don't do this with every word you don't understand, but just politely say to these people, "Oh, excuse me, you just said blah, blah, blah. What does that mean? Or can you pronounce that for me, please?" Be very nice to them and polite, and I'm sure they'll help you. And that's a way to build your vocabulary, and you'll become a better listener. You'll understand much, much more if you do that. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, yes.
Excuse me, teacher. I disturbed you today. So how can I practice my writing?
Oh, well.
Spelling. I mean spelling, not writing about grammar or something else.
I mean, how do you practice spelling?
Yeah, exactly, teacher.
Well, a great way is, you could make you could record a spelling list, and so you're not looking at words, because if you look at the words, you can see how they're spelled. So I would give yourself a spelling test maybe once a day, and, just record your voice, give yourself, I don't know, 10 to 20 words that are a little difficult for you. And quiz yourself.
10, it was wonderful, great. 10 easy for me.
Yeah, you don't want it to be too much, because we don't want to get burned out. We don't want to say, oh, it's too much. We want it to be 10 or 20, and you do that once a day. It'll take you maybe about 10 minutes, and that's fine. But if you can be consistent and do that every day for 10 minutes, your spelling will get very good.
Right. How can you teach your children when you want them to write something?
How do I teach them for spelling or for writing skills?
Yeah, spelling, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, we usually give them word lists to study, and give them quizzes.
Great.
Yeah.
I like this way.
Yeah. Quizzing is great because this is something else we've learned from a lot of research is quizzing helps our brains to do well. So the more we quiz ourselves, the better we do. And make quizzing fun. If you quiz yourself, it's not about a grade or anything, but it really helps the brain to remember. And that's what we're trying to do, is get our brains to remember, to hold on to the information. Okay. All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, you're very welcome. Everybody, I gotta cut it off here. I've got to end the call now. So I want to just say thank you to everybody for joining us today. This was a very nice call. We had people from.
Excuse me, Mr. Dale.
Oh yeah, Gazem, go ahead.
Yes, I have some words to clarification. I already wrote them in the text here. Could you make some explanation for them?
These words in the chat box here: exasperated, indifferent.
Yes.
Sheepish. Okay, well, sheepish means shy. Like, I feel a little shy around you. That means I feel sheepish. And exasperated means like I'm very exhausted. I'm very, very tired. It's like too much has been going on.
I need the right pronunciation for these words.
Oh, yeah, pronunciation. So, okay, so the first one is exasperated.
Exasperated.
Yes, very good, very good. The second word is indifferent. So we stress the second syllable, indifferent.
Indifferent.
Yes, and the last one, sheepish.
Sheepish.
That's it. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sheepish is a little bit shy.
Yes, it means I'm a little shy. Yeah, I get a little sheepish when I'm around my boss. Yeah, I get exasperated. Yeah, from all the work at my current job. I feel indifferent about movies. It means I don't have an opinion. So there you go.
Indifferent.
Yeah, indifferent. Yeah.
Neither agree nor agree.
Exactly. That's right.
Exasperated.
Right. Exasperated. But I gotta cut it. Gazem, please join. Please, you and everybody else, I welcome you to join me next week. I have to cut the call short today because I have an appointment. Okay. But I appreciate it. It was a pleasure speaking with all of you today, and we had some new people on the call, and it was nice to see Sergey here. He's our Russian friend and listening in Russia, and Bizo is in Cairo, and so is Blue Sky and Sachin, and all the rest of you. Thank you for joining us. This has been the English Meeting Call. We do this most Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's UTC -7. And you can find my videos on YouTube at English Meeting with Dave Skonda. And please connect with me on Facebook and on Skype. I'm Dave Skonda there. Okay, everybody. Bye, everyone. I'll see you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, bye-bye, everyone. See ya. Bye-bye now. Okay, so that was the English Meeting Call. And like I said, we do this call most Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, UTC -7. And I encourage you to connect with me on Facebook. I'm Dave Skonda on Facebook. Just connect with me there. That's where I announce the English Meeting Call. And it's a great way to interact with me. Also on Twitter, I'm Dave Skonda. All right. And Skype, my ID is David88411. Those are numbers, David The number's 88411. And here on Google Hangouts, Dave Skonda with English Meeting. So thanks everybody who's watching me live. Please join again, and I'll see you next time on the English Meeting call. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.